So today we're going to talk about the 5 fastest ways to increase the revenue within your media business. So the first way to add revenue within your media business is to focus on that AOV, which stands for average order value. Now, to give you a story, when I started in real estate photography, I was solely just a photographer, and my lowest photography package was $275 and my highest was $1,200. Now, if we average things together and say that we have 10 bookings, some of them are at $275, some of them are at $1,200, some are at $700, and we take all of those bookings and we average the invoices across, that's how we get our average order value. And so as I started to progress in the real estate media business, my clients started to ask me about video services, floor plans, drone work, 3D tours, and all kinds of other things. And at first I kept saying no because I didn't know how to do these things. But little by little, I started to learn and incorporate these other services. And now all of a sudden, my average order value went from only offering photography to offering photography and video and drone and 3D tour. And now my average order value hovers around $1,000. That means that the average price that one of my clients pays for a booking is $1,000. My average order value back then, when I was solely just a photographer, was about $300. And so as you can see, by increasing the amount of services that you can offer or upselling your client into additional services, you can start to make more money per project. And so that by far is the fastest way to add revenue into your business. So rather than focusing on bringing in new clients, you need to maximize your existing clients by increasing that AOV. So one of the other fastest ways to add revenue into your business is the obvious one, which is increasing the volume of clients. Now, this is obviously going to come down to your marketing ability and your networking ability and leveraging your existing clients to try and book new clients. And so once you've really locked down your AOV and you've maximized the amount of money that you can make per client, then you have to start focusing on how do you get more clients. And that can come down to a variety of tactics. It can come down to cold outbound outreach, so things like Instagram DMs, introducing yourself, introducing your services. It can be relying on existing clientele for referrals. It can be partnership deals, looking for other vendors within your industry and trying to lean on them to introduce you to their clients and things like this. But once you've really locked down that AOV, then we can start focusing on that client volume. And a lot of people get this backwards. A lot of people focus on finding more clients before they focus on increasing the amount of money that each client spends. And if you work on it the other way around, so if you prioritize the average order value first, then each client becomes worth substantially more money. And then the ROI on doing the outreach and doing the networking and finding the referrals, that ROI becomes so much higher because now each new client is worth significantly more money because you've worked out the AOV portion of it first. So the third fastest way to add revenue to your business would be strategic partnerships. Now, strategic partnerships generally come in 2 different forms. The first one is partnering up with somebody who can bring value into your business in ways that you cannot. And so the easiest example of this is if you are a wedding photographer and you are solely a photographer and you don't know how to shoot any video work, you can partner with a videographer and you can offer videography services as an upsell to your existing photo clients, thereby increasing the revenue in your business because you are now offering more services. And you're doing it by strategically partnering with somebody who can add more value to your business. Even if you yourself cannot add that value, you can utilize those strategic partnerships. Another example of this would be a referral system. And so a good example would be if there is a wedding dress shop in your town and you go to that wedding dress shop and you say, hey, I want to make you a deal. Every bride that comes into this shop, I want you to ask her if she already has a wedding photographer. And if she doesn't have a wedding photographer, if you could introduce me to her and do a little sales pitch and talk about how great I am and how much of an amazing photographer I am. And if that bride books with me, I will pay you out a commission on that booking. And so now we are strategically partnering with other vendors and other people who are associated with your niche, who work around your niche, who can help connect you with potential clients, and you're doing it in a strategic way. And so that would be another good example of strategic partnerships. So number 4 for increasing your revenue is to focus on the client life cycle. And the client life cycle is how long are they spending money with you? And different niches have different life cycles. For example, in the real estate space, I work with real estate agents. And so they are a full-time business and they often have reoccurring projects that they bring me on. Now, this differs from a wedding photographer who will have a client who only has one wedding in their lifetime, ideally. And so it really depends on the niche that you're in, but I would encourage you to start focusing on that client life cycle and figuring out ways that you can increase that life cycle. And so oftentimes what this comes down to is offering additional services that are adjacent to the main service. And so in the wedding photography example, there is only one wedding. And so you can only really work with that client once unless you start thinking about anniversary sessions and engagement sessions and newborn sessions and family holiday parties and family sessions and any and every other service that you could offer to that client, thereby maximizing the life cycle of that client. Because we don't just want one-off clients. That is a vastly unsustainable business model because we are running around working so hard to find this client, and then that client hires us once and then we never hear from them again. That is such a total waste of a life cycle. And so we want to start thinking about how do we increase that life cycle. And so what I've been able to do in the real estate space is I bring on a real estate agent and say they give me one project per month, which is already a pretty good life cycle. But I start thinking about what can I do to increase that? Can we do new headshots maybe every 6 months? Okay, so if we do that, that's 2 more additional shoots per year. So we've got 1 real estate project per month. We've got 2 headshot sessions per year. Okay, can we add social media content? Can we add short form video? Can we add social media photo? Okay, can we add holiday parties? Can we add open house parties? Like, what can we do to increase that life cycle and make sure that throughout the relationship with that client, we are hitting them with as much volume of work that we possibly can. And last but not least is number 5 for increasing revenue within your media business. So this is something that I talk about often, but I'm going to continue talking about this because it is my favorite thing of all time, which is adding leverage into your business. Now, to summarize leverage, it means for every 1 input, you should be getting 2 or more output. And so for every bit of effort you put in, you should be multiplying the effort that you get out. Now, oftentimes this comes from utilizing software, utilizing AI, utilizing templates, utilizing capital, or utilizing labor. And there are a few other ways as well. But the objective with leverage is that if you think about your day-to-day operations, only a few of your day-to-day operations are directly generating revenue. So you have like your sales calls, you have your networking events, you have your cold DMing, talking with potential clients, networking, connecting, all that type of stuff. Those are the activities that are actually actively generating revenue. Everything else is busy work. So responding to past clients or, doing your accounting or photo editing or video editing, these are tasks that need to be done, but they are not actively generating revenue. And so the objective with leverage is we want to start delegating out a lot of the activities that don't actively generate revenue so that we can pivot and we can focus our attention on the revenue generating tasks. And so leverage is a big part of that. And so I challenge you to look through all of your day-to-day business operations and really ask yourself, is this task generating more revenue, or is this something that I could give away to either a software or an automation or an AI or a virtual assistant? How can I offload all of this busy work so that my time can be more spent on the revenue generating aspect, thereby increasing the revenue, because the majority of my time now is spent actually doing things that bring in revenue and not doing things that keep me busy. And so that is the 5 fastest ways to increase revenue within your media business. And I challenge you, if you focus on these 5 and you start installing the systems, I guarantee you will see a significant boost in revenue without that much effort.